Hello everyone and welcome to BrickCats. My channel is for anyone who enjoys custom LEGO creations, likes saving money, and or those looking to get into custom building. If you're a fan of my channel or are interested in supporting what I do, please consider liking this review, subscribing, or leaving a comment. Each like, subscription, and comment helps others find my channel, and I greatly appreciate your support. Today I am reviewing designer ThrawnsRevenge's TIE Avenger from Andor Season 2. Without any substitutions, I was getting 4 stores and $104 without shipping and tax, or about $139 with shipping and tax. In my reviews, I offer my opinions on aesthetics and model features, parts issues you might want to look out for, the build experience, the model's integrity, and I close out with my overall impression and pricing information in the conclusion. If you're watching this review, I assume you have bought the instructions or are interested in buying them. I also assume a basic level of familiarity with Bricklink's ordering system and LEGO nomenclature. I only use genuine LEGO bricks and I always purchase the instructions. I create these reviews for my own personal enjoyment and in the hopes that my advice will make your experience more enjoyable and or less expensive. Thrawn's Avenger model measures just over 11 inches front to back, 7 1/3 inches wide, and about 4 3/4 inches tall. While I've got it on Jurek's stand here, there's no stand included or recommended for this model at the time I'm publishing this review, but on Jurek's stand it tops out at just about 8 inches off my table here. Starting at the cockpit, this one uses the 4x4 dish and 3x3 round corner bricks to get the eyeball shape. The surrounding hull is very nicely shaped with the dark bluish gray section and the 4 hull lights. The shape of the hull angles backwards very nicely, making use of the newish 5x2 wedge pieces with more detailing on the side, a nice inclusion that recreates the canon details. At the rear, the engine glow tiles call for the less common trans medium blue, and there's also a well-integrated hatch, although out of necessity it's a bit larger than the one we see in the show. The underside of the ship is unremarkable, but shown here nearly specified, it's rounded off very nicely. The cockpit is accessible by gently pushing this top section forward, and you can fit a TIE pilot with his helmet in the cockpit. Interior decoration is minimal but effective, and in theory there's room for another passenger, but it would be hard to get them in there. The wing support struts are fairly simple. As specified, we're still using the cheese grater slopes here, but the newer solid slopes part 5404 will work too. Moving to the wings, I love the decision to use a bunch of different colors throughout here. We only get a couple of really good shots of the Avenger's wings, and you can see that there's definitely some variation in color from the different sections. This could be the Star Wars equivalent of iridescence, the same phenomena that makes butterfly wings appear different colors depending on the angle from which you're looking at them, so placement of these sections is a bit open to interpretation. Either way, the wings look really good, and the all-black interior seems to be accurate to what we see in the show as well. Finally, the comical amount of weaponry that the TIE Avenger has is faithfully represented. We've got the anti-personnel rotary blaster cannons on either side of the hull, both types of projectiles, whether they be rockets or missiles, the heavy cannon that takes out the range trooper on Cinar, all 4 wingtip cannons, and the turret on the port wing. The heavy cannon underneath the cockpit is designed to be removable, as are the rotary blasters. The port turret can rotate easily for some posability. Of the weapons loadout, the only ones I'm not quite as sold on are these rockets on the starboard side. They seem a little big to me, but until that light bluish gray 1x1 round plate with clip becomes more widely available, it's not easy to make these thinner and still have them look good, so that's certainly a minor issue for me. This is such a good looking model, and unfortunately it doesn't come with a bespoke or recommended display stand, nor are there good connection points on the underside of the model if you build it as specified. I did mention this to Thrawn already, but if you want to display it, you're never going to notice the missing curved inverted slopes that will give you the anti-studs you need to make a decent stand connection. Overall, this is such a good looking model, and I think the designer did an amazing job recreating and including pretty much every detail of consequence for this very awesome addition to the Star Wars canon. ThrawnsRevenge's TIE Avenger model calls for 195 elements and 872 pieces. The designer did an amazing job using mostly widely available elements, and there's really nothing that's difficult to find or disproportionately expensive in my experience. Thrawn mentions that any printed Star Wars-like 2x2 round tile will work for the wings, and the element specified in the parts list is the tile round 2x2 with bottom stud holder with black Star Wars TIE Fighter pattern, part 14769 PB025. This printed element does seem to have come down in price a little bit over the past 6 months as I've started seeing them for well under $1, but that's still no guarantee, and the tile round 2x2 with bottom stud holder with black Star Wars TIE Bomber pattern, part 14769 PB578, is a very close match and also very affordable. For pricing purposes, I substituted in the TIE Bomber tile. The Dish 4x4 inverted radar with open stud with Radial Jedi Starfighter TIE Cockpit Pattern, Part 35394 PV001 in trans brown, has two logical alternatives, and those are 35394 PV013 and 35394 PV008. There's not a huge price difference between the three in my experience, so I left this as is, but I wanted to flag that the new trans black windscreen looks amazing, and I think fits better with the overall color scheme of the fighter in case that matters to you. As usual, I use the Brick Hunter extension to check the entire parts list against the Pick-a-Brick inventory. I do have an affiliate link that gives me a small percentage of the value of your purchase, so thank you in advance if you choose to use it. Pick-a-Brick orders over $35 ship for free, and if you spend more than $14 in the bestseller or standard categories, the handling fees are waived. I'll go over those results in the conclusion. The instructions for this TIE Avenger consist of 202 steps, with each part or subassembly you add in each step outlined in green against a white background. This is fine for visibility, and I didn't have any trouble telling where pieces were going in a given step. Each step has you adding a reasonable number of elements in each step, usually 3 or 4, so the build goes at a good pace, and all in all it took me about 3 hours start to finish without any pre-sorting of pieces beforehand. I didn't run into any issues with sequencing, bad viewing angles, or unclear steps, so this is a very well done instruction set, and the build is appropriate for nearly any skill level. This is a very sturdy model without any consequential weak points. The wings are attached with 4-fingered hinges each. These offer decent resistance against folding, and there are other elements that prevent them from collapsing completely anyways. The strength of the wings also means that not having a stand is not a stability issue, just an appearance thing. The model is very swishable, the grip is exactly as you'd expect, something like this. You may want to be a bit careful putting your thumb on top here, as this part could slide forward unintentionally to access the cockpit. There is a little bit of wobble in the wings if you're moving this around really intensely. It's just a product of the wing connections, which are Technic axle connections. The only somewhat challenging thing to put back in place is actually the cockpit windscreen. The way it's mounted just makes it a little finicky, and in my experience you have to remove the top and the minifigure to do this easily, but ultimately it's a simple procedure and it's not going to cause the entire cockpit area to fall apart. Overall, this model gets top marks in the model integrity department. It's comparable to a playset in terms of stability. In fact, it's so well built that I could do some minor surgery adding in a part I forgot during the build in a very un-Lego-like way, by forcing some subsections apart to squeeze the piece in as opposed to fully disassembling that section. ThrawnsRevenge's TIE Avenger is a worthy addition to any TIE collector's fleet and any custom LEGO fan's collection. A purpose-built or modified undersection to accommodate a stand would definitely take it to the next level, but I feel like there are sufficient options out there that this wouldn't be terribly difficult for the average person to do on their own. This model also happens to be reasonably wallet-friendly, hitting the trifecta of looks, stability, and cost. Like I said in the introduction, without any substitutions, I was getting 4 stores and $104 without shipping and tax, or about $139 with shipping and tax. With my minimal substitutions, my search results changed drastically, falling to 4 stores and $74 without shipping and tax, or about $107 with shipping and tax. And then, utilizing Pick-a-Brick, my Pick-a-Brick total was $102, which included tax but no shipping and handling, and it also included $7 of padding for the standard elements. My Bricklink total would have been 2 stores and $5 without shipping and tax, or about $19 with shipping and tax, for a total of $121. Instructions for this model cost $14.99 and are available on OpenStuds. There will be a link to where you can buy those in the description below. Thanks as always for watching my review of ThrawnsRevenge's TIE Avenger. If you've built the model, you have something to share that I left out, or have a question about something I didn't cover, please leave your thoughts below in the comments. I'm very conscious that subscribers are earned and not deserved, so if you enjoy my content and want to see more, consider subscribing, leave the video a like or comment, or follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Thank you, and I hope to see you back next time.